All right, guys, welcome back. Here's one of my boxes that I just got of the three from the last video. The other box was a front fender that I ordered. It still has some adjustment to do, but this right here is, so let me go take you around the other side of the car first, because I think on my very first video I ever made, I kind of explained everything. And I actually even made a video of fixing some of this stuff. Well, use the word fixing loosely. But this is a quarter panel skin that we put on back in the early 90s. And if you remember correctly, if you haven't watched it, I'll remind, this right here is Pour 15 putty. And I thought it was a good idea to cake all that on. And right now it's just kind of a pain in the butt to deal with. But there was other issues too. I had a trunk drop down panel that wasn't in the best of shape, but at the time I hadn't ordered one. I even thought about one, so we just kind of, like I said, limited times, put it on there. And there was a hole that I patched in the outer wheel well. And then if you remember, or if you haven't, I had to recreate this hole because this was all rotted out. And then I just kind of smoothed over some filler real quick just to kind of see what it would look like. Well, here's what my problem is more than anything. You can see that there's a good, probably a 1/4 inch or so there, and then it kind of goes here and it's out here. So you can essentially rotate this a little bit, but when you do rotate it, it starts to kick everything else out of whack. And like I was saying, with the shipping, it was $400 to ship one fender. And if I added a quarter panel and the outer wheel well and then the trunk drop down, it stayed $400. So I thought, you know what, buy once, cry once, I suppose. So what I did was ordered all new wheel well, trunk drop down, and a full quarter that wraps around. So I already kind of went ahead and started marking where my spot welds are at. And it's going to be a little bit of a mess just because of the way we welded it a while back. But in here, this is all real solid. There ain't no rust at all. But what I'm going to probably do is just cut down around, give it a little lip initially until I can get the quarter up. And then I'm going to take this rear windows are already essentially out. It's just kind of hanging in there just to keep the dust out. But I'll put that in a safe spot and get that down to the metal just to make sure that I'm not going to mess this up again. But so yeah, so this is my quarter panel. And let me take it out so you guys can see what I spent my money on. So I haven't really taken it out at all, but I opened it up just initially just to make sure that it wasn't any major bends or dents or anything like that. Because the last thing I wanted to do is have a quarter panel that was all goofed up from shipping or something. So take some of this off. And what I'm going to do is just kind of go over there and see how high up here this quarter panel goes. Doesn't necessarily mean that's how high I'm going. I'll have to see what everything else is lining up with. But just kind of want to have an idea. And I tell you, they do a pretty decent job packing it. And you know, with all these quarter panel fenders, what have you, from my experience, you're always going to have to manipulate something somewhere. So it's not a big deal. I mean, if you get there 95% of the fitment, that's probably what you're looking for. All right, here we go. Oh boy, here we go. So, don't want to drop it and ding it up. I'll be doing body work on my brand new quarter panel. And I know some of some mentioned before. Probably should have done a full quarter on this because this is a quarter skin. Although, in my opinion, it turned out really nice. And it's got all new wheel well drop down. But you don't know what you don't know, and I had what I had, so I'm using what I have. When I bought them originally 30 years ago, the full quarter panels I couldn't find them anywhere. They were sold out, and I even got. So here's another thing with that other side quarter panel on the passenger side, which is what I'm replacing with. Let me show you something that really kind of. And I watched a couple of videos on how to fix this, so it wasn't a no-go. But when things started adding up, I just figured, you know what? Let's just go and buy a new one. But watch this. I have oil canning here, and it kind of waves down. And the reason it did that, I tried to grind some of this down just to see how hard it was going to be to take that poor 15 off. But the reason it's oil canning is because I was young and dumb, and I started stepping before I had anything. So what I did was, my assumption was I'm going to go buy a full quarter panel. That's what I was going to do 30 years ago. So I cut out, basically took that whole quarter off for the exception of the door jamb. Or did I take, no, that door jamb's original. Thinking that when the new one came in, I would put it in. Well, guess what? I couldn't find a full quarter panel. So I ended up going to the junkyard, finding a Firebird that was wrecked in the front, and the back was fine, and had to cut out that quarter panel, and then we spliced this in. So essentially from here to here, up here, is off a junkyard car. This is a quarter pound skin, and then everything else is this car's. So it didn't really start off too great for that side on me, which is kind of why I just decided to, you know what, let's just do the whole quarter panel. So this is what I've got so far. It doesn't look like it's damaged at all. And it's got a nice little lip so I can slide it up, slide it under on that side. So what I'm doing with this out right now is just, when I cut off that quarter panel, I got to kind of have an idea where I'm going to cut. I already know it's going to be along the seam. I got that. I need to figure out how far up I need to cut. I'll probably leave a little bit hanging down. And then obviously I'm going to have to cut out the wheel well, trunk drop down, do exactly what I did to this side. Prep it, put a new wheel well, and trunk drop down. And then, yeah, and then this will be ready to kind of fit up. But yep, so that's where I'm at. And that other little box is the wheel well and the trunk drop down. So with all three boxes in the fender. So this fender right here, I did a measurement, crossed, just trying to get an idea, because remember this was loose, so I had to adjust it a little bit. I might have to bring this up because when the door needs to be adjusted. So I probably should go and adjust the door first before doing anything, just so that this gap is wonky as hell. So what I'm thinking I'm going to have to do is lift this quarter panel up a little bit. When it lifts up, maybe it will suck in. I just got to get it somewhere, not quarter panel. When I lift this fender up, get it somewhat squared up, and then I have to look at that door and do the door. So because everything on this side is an unknown, that was a replacement door from 30 years ago. So that's been monkeyed with. The hinge has been taken off, and that quarter panel's monkeyed with. This is new. So this whole passenger side, I have nothing like I had on the driver's side, which could allow me to keep some assembly of alignment. So I'm going to start from scratch over there on that side is what I'm saying. And I think I probably need to start with the door. Get the door, because rocker panel hasn't been changed. So get the door gapped and kind of level with the rocker panel. And then from there, do this front fender, maybe the rear fender, rear quarter panel. But all right, guys, so going for another round. It was a little bit more than what I anticipated, hoping to do. I was thinking that I'm going to get done with it, but that wasn't in the cards, and probably for the better. After it's all said and done, I'll be happy that I did it that way. But all right, guys. All right, it seems like I spoke a little too soon on this quarter panel. So I took the quarter panel out, and it's on the hood of my car right now. But look at this. It bends down. And it doesn't seem wrinkled, so what it looks like it was a pressure bend, like the weight was on it and it bent down. I've already contacted the place I got it from. They haven't got back to me yet, but it did say up to 5 days. Part of me wants to try to just work it out, because the bend is from here on out, but the other part of me is like, I just paid money for a straight quarter panel. I don't want to try to bend it out and then wrinkle something, and then I'm over here messing with it. So we'll see what goes on from there. And then there's rub marks here. These aren't a big deal. This is probably inside packaging, and it just scuffed up the protective paint that they put on there. There's nothing really there. This is what I'm concerned about. You can see how it's bent down. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of delay on that quarter panel now. Well, one thing is I'm hesitant, or should I say apprehensive, because of my story from a while back. I did cut out this whole quarter panel thinking I had a full quarter, and when I found out I didn't, I ended up going to junkyard. So I don't want to recreate that whole problem again. So I may just hold off until I know that they've got another one in stock. If I know they have another one in stock and it will be on its way, then as soon as I get a hold of them, or they get a hold of me, however, I'll just start cutting into this. But I'm going to hold off until we get some kind of dialogue going on, because I don't want to have another hole with nothing to fill it. But in the worst case scenario, I suppose I would just get that bend out of it. But where the bend's at is just not in a great place. It's where it wraps around the back, and my tail light won't fit there the way it is right now, so it'd have to be bent back out, and I don't want to monkey with it until I hear from them. But yeah, just a little update. As soon as I hear word from them or move forward, I'll bring you guys back in. All right, guys. All right, so sorry about that. I'm cutting out the quarter panel, so that means one thing. It means I'm getting another quarter panel. So I was holding off, and it's been so long since I've been out here. It's only because, like I said in the last time, this quarter panel was damaged. And before I went cutting into this like I did last time, I want to make sure that I've got something to fill its hole, or I know the kind of what's going to happen with the people I bought this from. So they are stand-up company. I sent them pictures, showed them the pictures of the box it came in, which wasn't damaged. So they looked at the pictures and said, hey, we'll fulfill it and send you another one. So that's great. Because I know there's another one and I know it's on its way, I feel comfortable taking off this quarter panel. And let me see if I can set you up here as I try to pull it off. Now I've already kind of ground around that. Kind of ground around it. And the only thing is, it might be some, I think we put silicone back here, maybe something. We put something back here, so it might hang up a little bit. Ah, see, right there. You know what it is? It's hanging up right here. So that is a no-no. I probably cut through what I wasn't supposed to cut through, maybe? I don't know. We'll see. So I might have to pull the grinder out again. I thought I was done grinding, but I think I might have to maybe make another zip right here, because it looks like I went up. So I marked where this new one's at, but I kind of laid it over top and I went just below it for a few inches. But it seems, man, my finger caught in that. It seems, you know what? I'm just going to zip right. Well, shit. I don't know how far that goes. Yeah. I might just zip right through that. And if I have to weld it back on, I'll weld it back on. But I think I probably already halfway cut it anyway, just by looking at it. All right, watch yours. As I just kind of zip right through this. Almost. Holy moly. My grinding wheel got too short. Now it won't want to reach. Really, I could probably grab it with some dikes or something. Right. Enough monkey with that. I'll just see if I can rip it off. There's really not a hole. Well, yeah, I'll go grab some dikes. Or I got some tin snips. That might work better. There we go. So, take off the quarter panel that we put on. What do we got going on here? Look at that goo. That was me. Yeah, that was me. I thought I was gonna, but really, I made a mess for later. Oh, that's good. There we go. This metal is something else, because you can just get caught up with it even with gloves, and it goes right through that leather, stab you. So this is right here. Cut this piece off. There we go. Now I'm going to take this and put it outside. I'm probably going to need, well, maybe we'll see when I get out there if I need something else, because I really don't know. They got me a junkyard out here. I know you can't see it, but trust me when I say there's a junkyard outside. I might need to build another garage just to get a junkyard. Okay, so I didn't cut any, well, maybe. What is this? This is what I cut right here when it crossed. Yeah, I think I'll be good. I'll pound that in. I'll have to clean all that up, but you can see. I think what we did was, I'm gonna have to clean all the inside out like I did last time. You can see there's some caulk around here because we reused the old wheel well, which for all intents and purposes, I mean, I patched that one little hole down here. It was in good shape, but I figured if I'm pulling this whole quarter panel off, why save $100 when you can just buy a new one? New trunk drop down. This one's actually fairly good too. I mean, most people would probably reuse it. We did. But again, since I've got this torn off, why not just yeah, so this is what I got to do now. I got to go through and clean it up. And I got to be careful of all these sharp pieces of metal that are sticking out everywhere. Freaking, I made me a nice little booby trap for myself that I'll end up getting caught up in. But yeah, so I've got that to work on now that I know, like I said, I know that the quarter panel's coming. I'm going to continue on taking off this wheel well, that trunk drop down, clean it all up. I've got the new wheel well and trunk drop down I can put in place while I'm waiting on that other quarter panel. And yeah, this one right here, I mean, that's, aside from that one corner being tucked in, this is supposed to be straight, but it somehow got tucked in, and you could tell it wasn't banged around or anything. It must have been just like they stacked something on it and it kind of, but anyway, I might try to pound that out and have it as a spare or something, because it's a shame to just get rid of it. It's all good metal. The whole quarter panel is good except for this little quarter right here. But and part of me just wanted to not even try to return it and just try to fix that. But I figure if I spent the money on getting a quarter panel, the last thing I want to do is do body work to a new quarter panel and have mud in it and everything else. So yeah. All right. Let me get back to cleaning this up, and then I'll bring you back in when I get a little further down the road. All right, guys, I've got the quarter panel most of the way off. I've got the wheel well pretty much off. I just got to clean up the rim, and then the trunk drop down most of the way off. Here I'm just having a little bit of a hard time. I don't know why it worked out easier on the other side, but the way it's layered underneath each other, I'm trying to get these spot welds out, and this is still part of the trunk drop down pan, so I'm gonna have to take that off still, and then take this off. I believe this is the old quarter panel. This will have to remain because this is part of the, I believe it is, maybe not. I'll have to look. Yep, that's part of the rear panel. So I have to leave this, taking this off, take this off. I ended up cutting part of this out just because when I was trying to get the spot welds out, I was boogering it up. So you know what, I made a nice cut. I'll hammer it down, and I'll just get some metal, and I'll put a nice strip there, weld it in, and then I'll have something to weld the drop down to. This thing, I still got to clean this up, and then obviously when I get to this piece, I'm going to have to knock out the spot welds and then peel this outer piece. You can see it here. Just peel this piece off and leave this piece. This is part of the structure that I need to keep. But and I'm gonna have to go in just like I did the other side and have to. Well, this one's a little rusty, so I might have to make another one. I'll see it when. Yeah, it's rusty. I'm gonna have to make another one of these just like I did last time. And then this right here, I'm gonna have to cut that out and weld a piece in. So yeah. Oh shit, that was hot. I mean, that was sharp. Looked like somebody, and it may have been me. Hell, I don't know. Looked like they just put some mud on top of it, but I got to clean all that up. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Like I said before, the new quarter panel's on its way here. I'm anticipating it to be here within the week, I suppose. But again, I'm not in a rush right now because I've got this wheel well to put on and the trunk drop down. One thing that I did notice when I popped this old quarter panel skin off, the gap closed in on itself a little bit. So I don't know if it was the car was sprung or if this was pulled back and then when I let go of it. But this has to be all cleaned up anyway because this is from the last time. So there's boogered up well. So maybe once I clean all that up, I'll be good. Yeah, it looks like I might be good once I get that all cleaned up. But all right, guys, till I get the rest of this off. Should be off probably tomorrow, I'd imagine. Get it all cleaned up. All right, later. All right, guys, I pretty much got it off as much as I'm going to get it off for right now. Like I said, last time I left that, I'm going to cut this. So the next time I'm going to end this video at this, and then I'm going to pick up where I'm at right now, just so I don't get too long. But I gone ahead and got all the wheel well stuff off, ground it down. What I'm going to have to do is in here. So I've already peeled off that skin. The outer part. So this is the inner structure that the new quarter panel is going to wrap around. But you can see, well, hold on. You can see it's all rusted out in here. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to find out where and I think I already looked at it, and it's at the bottom of this crease. I can cut that off right there and around, and then I'll just cut all this out and then shape new metal to put in there. And this is from my last one, and I ended up grinding through it, so I could probably even pull that out and redo it. But yeah, so what I'm going to pick up on next is fortifying this inner structure, cutting it out, welding new panel in, and then from there I'll have to go down here and clean that up a little bit, just because I left it there on purpose so that when I put the new quarter panel in, find out where the metal ends and where the new metal ends and this begins, or vice versa, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. The other quarter panel did come in. So like I said, there's the new one. So I can put this one in the box for the time being. But yeah, I've been pretty busy the last couple of weeks, really. We went and got another German Shepherd puppy. So anybody who has a puppy knows that they're like a little baby. And since my wife works all day, 12 hours, I'm adjusting the arms, the legs on it. That's why it's bouncing around. Sorry about that. But anybody who knows about puppies, you gotta stay on them. So it really limited or barred me from even coming out here. But I'm starting now. We've had it for about a week and a half. So I'm getting into its schedule a little bit, and he's doing pretty good. He's a little bit more hard-headed than the last one, but we'll work through that. I got it a little younger. So the last one, I thought I got at 8 weeks, but I got the last German Shepherd puppy at 10 weeks. When I answered the AKC ad, it said 8-week-old German Shepherd puppies. But I didn't take into consideration that was probably when she posted it, not necessarily when I picked it up. But when I picked him up, when I went and did the actual days, and when I picked up the second puppy, she's like, yeah, you got your last puppy at 10 weeks old. So that means he would have passed away at 13, almost 14 weeks old. This one we picked up just shy of 8 weeks. So he was at like the 7.5 week mark when we got him. And then he's 9 weeks now. Yeah, just over 9 weeks. He's just over 9 weeks now. So, compare and contrast, we looked at him and said, wow, this guy's a little guy, but he's actually was the biggest one of the litter. And not to say much, but the last guy was kind of a big guy. But he's good. He's a good little puppy. Can't wait to him get through this puppy phase. I know a lot of people like that. Oh, cherish the puppy phase. No, not me. I want a dog that is kind of remote controlled, knows what's going on. But yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. Like I said, where I'll pick it up on the next video is I'm going to start fabbing up pieces inside there for the inner structure. And then I'll also fab that piece right there. And then I'll go ahead and put the outer wheel well on, trunk drop down. Once those get on, I'll start working on the quarter panel, trying to figure out exactly how I want it to go on the top around. But all right, guys, thanks for being patient. If anybody was even waiting, but I kind of felt like I was getting in a rhythm to where it was every week or so I was putting out a video, and then it's been a while, but life happens. But all right, guys. One more thing. I got this. So I'm hoping I got the right one, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear it apart. But what this is, hold on. I think I told you this before. I had transmission problems. So this goes where the speedometer is at, and it's a new seal, outer, and there's an inner seal. So what I'm hoping, and with my luck, it's not going to be the case, but what I'm hoping is that when I pull it apart, the Teflon gear or whatever it's made out of is not grooved. If it is grooved, I'll get a new one, but I didn't get a new one because I wasn't exactly sure what was in there and I hadn't pulled it off yet. So I want to make sure that when I order the gear that I'm getting the right gear. I checked my rear end gear ratio, and Maybe you guys probably know. It's like 242 or some. It's a 240-ish, just shy of 250 rear end gear ratio. It is limited slip. Um, in the future, I'll probably bump that up from a 240 maybe to a, I don't know what the next one is, 308. I don't want to go too steep with that 350 transmission. If I was ever to change the transmission up, then I would probably maybe go 373s or something. But with the 350 transmission, I'm going to not go too steep, but I want to go a little bit higher than or I should say lower. I always got that backwards, but you know what I mean. A lower gear than 240. But that's further down the road. I don't even know why I brought it up. But all right, guys, thanks a lot.